Okay, I'll see if I can do another quick little painting and show y'all how I do some of the little scenes. Here I'm just brushing in some blue for the sky, and it's a cobalt blue, and I just mix it with some white on the little palette here. And I'm going to put a little bit of green just to kind of lay in some ground. And let's see. See if we can do a little sunset with some pink in the sky. I think that will look pretty good. Okay, we'll add a little bit of yellow to the screen to give some variation to the ground and some little light spots. And we'll let that dry. Let's see. This one's so small. Let's see if we can do some form of little cabin. Let's see. What color cabin do we want? Let's see if we can do something with a little gray. When I paint such small stuff, sometimes it's hard to talk and paint because the talking keeps me from having a steady hand. So, okay, that lays in the little cabin. And let's put in a little roof. And hopefully this is showing. It's hard for me to see my phone to tell if I'm right in the frame or not. I kind of turn my pieces every which way but loose to get the paint right where I want it to be. Okay, now I'm going to put the other side of the roof line. Oh, too much water on the brush. And not much of it shows, but I have to put it in there because it's just part of how I paint them, so I have to know that that little roof is there. Okay, then I will I'll just use the same brush. And let's see if we can do a little darker gray to represent some, kind of make it look like old wood. Yeah, that's good enough. And let's do put a little dark for the roof edge there. And let's put a little bit for the roof line there, and just a smidgen there. Come on. Okay. Not enough paint was coming off my brush. I couldn't tell if it was leaving any or not. Okay, now we'll put a little door on our barn or cabin. And then let's do 2 little windows. And kind of give it a little bit of definition. Whew. That was definitely definition. Let's see if we can lighten that some. I normally have a little different brush I use to do this, but I was afraid it would be so big it would get in the way, so I was trying to use the smaller brush, and it's kind of a icky brush, so it's actually not the best for doing this. And then let's put us in a little path. I just do this with a little bit of dark brown paint, and I just kind of wiggle it in there. Okay, I think the sky is dry enough. Let's see if we can lay in a little cloud or two before I forget to add a cloud to it. I like to have little clouds in my sky, and hopefully this is still where it can be seen. And let's see, let's get just a little more definition on the ones on this side. Okay, that will work. Now, this rock is so small, I'm trying to figure out how it's going to be the best way to do a few little background trees. Let's see. Let's see if it'll let me just kind of dab in some various stuff here to be a little background foliage. I just took a little bit of green and toned it down with a little bit of purple and then added some white, and that kind of gives a good distant tree color look. And put a few little low bushes and trees right there on that side. Okay, let's see. Let's get a little bit of yellow underneath them. I like to add a little yellow because it kind of reminds me of the fields around here when the little random flowers start blooming. A lot of them will be in yellows, and so I like to add that. Okay, now with that, I hope rubbing my brush and trying to get it cleaned out doesn't shake the table too badly. Let's get a clump of foliage here, and we'll put one right there. And what that'll do is actually push the cabin back, because anything dark you put up front, it's going to push everything else back into the distance. Okay. Where is my little bitty scruffy brush? I use mostly scruffy brushes when I do this kind of painting because they're perfect for making little tiny things happen that don't take a whole lot of effort. When I do this particular here, it's a little, I think it's a number 2 little scruffy brush. When I say scruffy, it means it doesn't go back to a nice chisel point. It's more frayed like this one is. Just this one is smaller. So I load white on one side and red on the other. And then as I dab it together, it forms that kind of pink color in the middle. And I call it my little faux roses, because that's what it reminds me of, is all the climbing roses we have in the country. And you'll see different variations from dark reddish pinks to almost white. I'm going to go back in here on this side and add a little bit. I use some purple and white. I just want to break up the red color just a little bit And then that way I'm going to add just a few with the blue and white. And then it's just a nice transition between the two colors and clumps of flowers. I like to think of the blue ones almost as hydrangeas. And that pretty much is it. That's a little barn scene. Hope y'all liked it.